Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founding editor-in-chief. It is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. This is a live show, 1,276. I guess sixes are wild tonight. Welcome, everybody. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. We skew heavily into tabletop role-playing games. Every once in a while, I might choose a topic to kick around, or maybe even just, have an AMA with the folks in chat. But usually we are going to be taking a first look at a game release, which is what we're doing tonight. We're going to take a look at something that's been out for a few years, but has been very well received. I've never had an opportunity to take a peek at it, and one of our constant viewers was kind enough to send me the funds to buy this author's work. So we're going to take a peek at his first book. It is Neverland for 5e. It is from Andrew Kolb, and it is published by Andrews McMeel Publishing. So that is what we're going to take a look at tonight. I thought we'd go with this because I know a lot of people out there also want to have a bit of a Philadelphia area gaming expo recap from me. We got other things cooking. I've got a contest winner to announce. So rather than taking a peek at something that's just come out, where everybody's like, oh, come on, get into the unboxing, get into the first look. Come on. This has been out for a bit. So not to say that you're not anxious to take a peek at this, but yeah, it's been out for a few years. I think 5 years now. Anywho, yes. When you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And then, because this is a live show, there is chat available. You do have to be a subscriber to the channel for at least an hour before you can take part. So if you check that box off and you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my absolutely best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Semper Buffo. Matthew Blackwell's with us, as is the Madman, Pete's Draculich. Yeah, remember I said the constant viewer who provided the games? Well, they want to say anonymous, so I'm not going to tell you who it is. I think they want to stay anonymous. We also have Tessie Trekkie. Mike is with us. And Kathy Evans has just popped on in. And we might have the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D. Also, a chat moderator lurking in the shadows, trying to make sure that everybody behaves. Very nice. Very nice. All right. So it has been a week. Boy, there haven't been a lot of live streams lately with me with the holidays. And then going off to Paige last week. And yes, Sarah D is with us tonight. Keithulu is also joining us. Danny W. Gable is popping on in. Hey. Hey. It's Fat Albert. Now I got to sit. What is it? And I've got a song to sing for you. It's been decades since I saw an episode of Fat Albert. Used to watch it all the time when we were kids. Yes, back when people thought that a certain comedian was a nice guy. Enough about that. Anyway, moving right along. We got a big show tonight. So why don't we just dive right on into the news? Because the Tales of the Valiant Player's Guide 2 is now heading into stores. It's not in stores yet. It is on its way. But I've got the latest from Kobold Press. Build a new legend and expand your story to greater heights with Player's Guide 2, a bold new addition to your Tales of the Valiant game and 5th edition D&D. Includes 3 new heroic base classes: the dual casting Theurge, the Weird Blessed Witch, or the Commanding Vanguard. New subclasses for existing Tales of the Valiant classes, plus dozens of new magical items, relics, spells, and rituals. 9 new lineages, 11 new heritages, and variant options for Beastkin, Sindarians, and more. Plus dozens of new talents and backgrounds for unparalleled customization and storytelling. Base building mechanics that allow you to build your stronghold, add facilities, staff, and mysteries to uncover, and much more. Run a criminal enterprise, train mounts and companions, explore spell point casting, and go beyond level 20 with rules for epic play. Player's Guide 2 is your next step into greater tales, mightier heroes, and deadlier villains. The 256-page hardcover will carry an MSRP of $49.99 when it arrives in stores. It is supposed to be in stores next month. If you want to grab the PDF along with it, you want to bundle those together, you do want to order from Kobold Press. It is $59.99. Now, of course, if you just want to grab the PDF, it's out now over at DriveThruRPG for $29.99. Sweet. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have an opportunity to take a peek at the Player's Guide 2 for Tales of Valiant when it comes out from my friends over at Kobold Press. Peace Drakowitz says, beware the Bill Cosby. Danny Gable says, no roofie colada for me. Thank you. Thank you very much. Kevin King is popping on in. Good to see you again, Kevin. Moonrise Long, now available in PDF, is the Game Master's Guide for Osric 3.0. Here's the latest from Mythmere Games. Every Osric game needs a Game Master in order to play. The Osric 3.0 Game Master Guide contains advice, rules, and tables to help you run adventures for your friends. This book contains guidance for non-player characters, designing dungeon adventures, encounter tables, monster stats and descriptions, treasure, and magic items. You'll also need a copy of the Osric 3.0 Player Guide, in addition to the Game Master Guide. Originally written in 2005 through 2006 as a retro clone of the first edition of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, Osric is now in its 3rd version, newly revised for clarity and accuracy. The 330-page PDF is out now. There is no word yet on when you'll be able to get it in print, but I could have swore, aren't they offering the Player's Guide now as a DriveThruRPG print on demand? I might be misremembering that, but I thought that is a possibility. So it is pay what you want. If you want to pay $5, pay $5. If you want to pay nothing, the publisher understands you can pay nothing. That's why they give the option of pay what you want for this Game Master's Guide. So I grabbed my copy. I'm going to check it out. I like Osric. I think Osric is pretty cool, especially if you're looking for the the AD&D experience without the high Gygaxian and stream of consciousness approach. I think that Osric works very, very well. I have not taken a peek at Osric 3.0 yet, although I do have the 2 books in PDF. I sort of have the impression from the images that you're seeing right here that the chapters are probably very short, very to the point. So very nice. Matthew Blackwell says it is just PDF as of now. So both books, I guess, are just PDFs, which actually presents us with a segue into our next news piece, because if you enjoy PDFs and you've always been interested in dipping your toes into Call of Cthulhu, well, guess what? Chaosium Inc. has teamed with Humble Bundle for the So You Want to Try Out Call of Cthulhu bundle. I've got the deets on the deal. Invite Eldritch Terror to your table. Bring a taste of terror to your game nights with this bundle from Chaosium Inc., complete with everything you need to run the dreaded yet beloved Call of Cthulhu role-playing game system. On top of the Call of Cthulhu starter set, you'll get the Investigator Handbook, replete with expanded rules for creating player characters, as well as the Keeper Rulebook, brimming with all the information you need to keep things orderly as your table descends into madness. You'll also get tons of adventures, including some aimed at first-time game masters, as well as entire campaigns. Pay what you want. I hate when they say that. Pay what you want. Well, no, it's not really pay what you want. I don't want to pay anything. Well, then you're going to get nothing. But pay what you want for over 25 books and game aids for this seminal role-playing game and help support the World Wildlife Fund with your purchase. Now, you're going to receive codes. They are redeemable through the DriveThruRPG website. So you can jump on board for as little as $5 or go all in, get your hands on all 26 of the available PDFs for a minimum donation. This is kind of where they mean pay what you want. If you want to donate more, you most certainly can, because of course, the more you donate, the more of that is donated to the charity for that bundle. But the minimum donation is $25. The savings will run through February 4th. I got to say, this is another situation where there is years of adventuring in this bundle. We see it's normally the humble bundles, the fanatical bundles that come out, which are just jam-packed with content. Although weirdly enough, I didn't, off the top of my head when I was taking a peek, I didn't think I saw the cover for the starter set, unless they've changed the artwork on the cover, although it says this does include the starter set. Well. So if you've been kicking around wanting to maybe take a shot at Call of Cthulhu, this is it. This is your opportunity to do so and get, 25 bucks. It's less than $1 a PDF, and you'll have everything you need to be a keeper and to keep your players terrified at your game table for years. Now, of course, if you're looking for more spookiness as well as more savings, Kids in the Attic Games has joined forces with Bundle of Holding for an offer featuring the Sleepy Hollow role-playing game. And I've got the skinny on the savings. Adventure. This all-new Sleepy Hollow bundle presents, well, You guessed it, Sleepy Hollow, the tabletop fantasy role-playing game of early 19th century folk horror from Kids in the Attic Games. Kids! 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 In the attic! I wonder how deep that cut is. Who's gonna jump in and tell me what that is? Anyway, so the game is based on the legend of Sleepy Hollow and other works by Washington Irving and other early American writers. Now, keep in mind, this is completely unconnected to the Tim Burton film or the Fox TV series. In 1810 America, the small, isolated New England village of Sleepy Hollow is steeped in rituals, customs, and tales of spectral riders, witches, and dark pacts. 20 years have passed since the fateful night Ichabod Crane vanished, leaving only whispers of the headless horseman. But the darkness never truly left Sleepy Hollow, and every shadow hides a secret. As a wandering minstrel, hunter, barber, surgeon, hey, I'll trim your hair and stitch that wound. A school teacher like Crane, or even a retired Hessian, you'll explore shrouded woods, find cursed artifacts and restless spirits, and protect Sleepy Hollow's residents from ever-encroaching darkness, and possibly from themselves, for their hidden past may yet return to haunt the living. Still, the people stand united against the unknown, clinging to sanity and drawing strength from community. Using the Year Zero engine, the Sleepy Hollow RPG adapts the stress mechanics seen in the Alien RPG to create a charged supernatural mood. This is no routine Monster of the Week playground. The game's loving descriptions of authentic locations evoke a focused sense of place, a place with a troubled past. The settled landscape makes its unsettling histories convincing. When every villager, including you, has secrets and regrets, every monster hunt becomes a darkly personal story. Yes. You can jump on board for, oh my God, it disappeared. Where'd the price go? I think it's $9.95. If I remember correctly, it's $9.85. Gets you a starter book. And if you pay more than the threshold price of $17.98, probably went to like $18.05 by now, you'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection. 5 more titles, because there's four PDFs with the starter collection, or whatever they're calling it, worth an additional $50, including Ichabod Crane's Field Guide to Uncanny Creatures, Folk Magic, Spells and Charms of the Hollow, the Parish Ledger Book of Non-Player Characters, and the scenarios Dark Was the Night, Cold Was the Ground, and A Little Darkness. These savings will run through February 9th. Coco B is with us. And yes, Coco B is correct. Kids, kids, kids in the attic. Yeah, it's an old Aerosmith song. So yes, welcome aboard, Coco B. Good to see you once again. Gotta say, I'm curious about Sleepy Hollow. I remember sharing news when it was crowdfunding, and it just sounds really interesting. I don't know anything about it. I'd be curious if the impetus, I guess we'll say, for the weird goings on in Sleepy Hollow might be something involving the Native Americans, the native peoples that were driven from that land, maybe massacred. I don't know. But yeah, I would actually be very curious to check out Sleepy Hollow. I've heard people say it's pretty cool. I don't recall exactly anything in detail about that. Still, a nice bundle there for you. Save you a little bit of money on some spooky things. Although, funny enough, and I don't think It's been so long since I saw the Disney cartoon. I don't think enough people realize that the Headless Horseman doesn't kill Ichabod Crane. And the Headless Horseman is really a trick to get rid of Ichabod Crane, right? I forget the one character's name, but he dresses up like the Headless Horseman to scare Ichabod Crane away. So there really is no supernatural elements in the Washington Irving story. Yeah, I know. So maybe I should have given a spoiler alert? No. Don't think so. All right, let's wrap up because the eagerly anticipated Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition, the 23rd Century Campaign Guide, say that 5 times fast, has landed in PDF from Modiphius Entertainment. Here's what I know. Space, the final frontier. Risk is our business. That's what this starship is all about. That's why we're aboard her, Captain James Tiberius Kirk. The 23rd century serves as the foundation of the entire Star Trek universe, a time in which many of the most iconic people, starships, and locations are introduced, and when many of its key events take place. The 23rd Century Campaign Guide presents the entire 23rd century for you to use in the Star Trek Adventures role-playing game, from the growing pains of the nascent Federation in the century's early decades to the rising tensions with the Klingon Empire that sparked a brutal war in 2256 to 2257. Then onward into the bold 5-year missions period and the volatile later third of the century. Characters of every department, from command to medical, can use new rules and character options to deepen their gameplay experience. No matter the composition of your crew, this guide provides the means for you to play through some of the most dramatic and influential periods in Star Trek. How does your crew fit into this iconic era, and what trailblazing stories of their own will they tell? This 128-page full-color, the 23rd Century Campaign Guide PDF features new player character options, including new options for the environment phase of life path character generation, the new free trader career path option, and 12 new career events. New optional rules for generating casualties and impacting characters with lingering consequences such as fatigue, scars, and trauma. There are 4 lights. Not 5. 4. There's guidance to help players and game masters create amazing missions and campaigns that fit thematically into the 23rd century, and to collaboratively tell stories with your crew that are as evocative and epic as those involving Michael Burnham, James Kirk, Nyota Uhura, Christopher Pike, Mr. Spock, and many others. Information about 4 key periods of the century, along with specific details for each key period concerning the state of the galaxy, technological advancements, and the major and minor civilizations at play. Extensive player advice about playing characters through the various periods in this century, along with sample focuses, traits, and values for players to consider adding to their characters. Advice for game masters on the themes and tones present in each period of the century, and information on various styles of play and campaign structures that might best fit each period. The 2nd edition supplement is compatible with both 1st edition Star Trek Adventures and the Captain's Log solo RPG. The 128-page PDF is available now, and it can be had over at DriveThruRPG for $28. I know a lot of people were really looking forward to this book. I don't know. I didn't know. All right. So, Kim King says, appeared in reaction to King Philip's War was somewhat extreme. Yes, sir. It most certainly was. Tessie Trekkie says there's a wonderful indie horror movie called The Sudbury Devil. Why have I? Isn't that a folkloric creature too? The Sudbury Devil? It's set around that area in the Native American mythos. Warnings, it's incredibly bloody and acted in period American English, which is actually what I speak when I'm not on camera, so I would have no problem with that. Nope! Tessie Trek says, this starship is built on risk. Oh, we built this city on rock and roll. Good stuff, good stuff. Yes. And Semper Buffo asks, will we see a review of Star Trek Second Edition? Probably not. I really don't have a relationship with Modiphius Entertainment anymore. I think it was another situation where because there was a point in time they were sending almost everything. They sent pretty much the entire Dune line. In fact, I think it was the entire Dune line that they sent along. I'd gotten the core book for Fallout role playing and the Octon Cthulhu, 2 core books for that. They all got reviews. They all got coverage. They all got video coverage. I got to be honest. I think I may not have reviewed like the last book or 2 from Dune. And then I never heard anything again. I didn't even get news pieces of, like press releases or anything like that. So probably another case of the PR person moves on. They bring somebody else in. Got to start from scratch. Oh yeah, Dreams and Machines too. Which I was like, it's all right. It's okay. I mean, funny enough, I don't think enough people realize that like a reviewer is just providing their opinion based on their likes, their dislikes, their experience with games. That's all it is. So when somebody loves a game or their group and themselves are really into it, like I did get some pushback from people about Dreams and Machines. I didn't say it was bad. I think I gave it like a 6.5, 7. I was just like, yeah, it's cool, but it really is aimed as being an introductory role-playing game. And it really was aimed at, fans of a particular video game, in my opinion. Could be wrong. But, I get some pushback from people. Oh, man, this game is great. We love this game. I'm not here to tell you not to love something, right? I'm just here to provide my opinion and let you know what I think of it, because there's plenty of stuff out there that, someone like, some of the like more gonzo gross out stuff, not my bag. It's not my thing. Might be some fantastic, spooky, weird, completely mind-blowing adventures. Just not my bag of tricks. That's all. So I'm not, here to tell you, oh, well, you shouldn't play that. Oh, that's wrong fun. No, absolutely not. Pete Dracula says 6.5 says it all. Yeah, it was like 6.5, 7, something like that. Yeah. And I don't know if I pissed somebody off because I didn't like it enough over there. I don't think that would have been the case, though. I got to be honest. I think it was more changing of the guard that happens constantly in this hobby. It's like I talked to someone from WizKids at Page, and I had mentioned, I said, we were never able to get on board with WizKids. In fact, when it was just Dice Tower, Game On with Cody and John, Fortress of Ameritrash, I'm sure there were other people, but I mean, it wasn't like you couldn't swing a dead cat without hitting a board game reviewer. It wasn't anything like that. And I talked to somebody at Gen Con from WizKids, and they said, well, with all of our major releases, we have 3 review copies we put put aside, which I mean, that's fine. I completely get it. You've heard me say before that, companies got to limit the number of review copies that go out. Otherwise, they're not making any money, right? You can't have a game release and be like, yeah, here's 100 reviewer copies. It just doesn't happen. But it was like, well, 3. I was like, no, we're never. And then I did some, Elliot and I did some interviews at Origins with WizKids, and that didn't even get us on board. So anyway, we were talking a little bit, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to reach out to you. Well, yeah, okay. All right. Tessie Trekkie says every reviewer has biases. If you force me to play Lancer, I'd hate it because of how complex the rules are. You know what? And I've gotten some emails from people who didn't like my review of Lancer that I should have given it a 10 out of 10. I'm like, okay, all right. Just like they wouldn't expect Questing Beast to review a narrative-focused non-OSR game. Yeah, Ben Milton bringing you a review of something that you would find on Itch and only on Itch. I don't think so. No, I don't think that's happening. But that's good. That's good. It's good that we have the variety of people out there. I mean, let's be honest, it's good that we have Dungeon Tube channels. This is not one, because our focus is not Dungeons and Dragons, although we are taking a look at a setting book that's designed for 5e. But although I do think it's also available for OSR, somebody out there is going to have to let me know. Let me know. But I could have swore I saw it's 5e statted, and then there's like OSR statted. Maybe even for OSE. And then again, I could be imagining this because I was hit in the head multiple times as a youth. No, not really. Anyway, so that is it for the news tonight as I ramble on. Hey, there you go. Another Aerosmith reference tossed in. How many years have I been doing this stream? Never mentioned Aerosmith once. Now it's twice. Twice! Pete Streklich asks if I ever scored a game with a 4 or lower. Yes, I have. I want to say that was, I mean, I think I've done a video review of a 4 or below. I've given games 0s. So, but those are written reviews over on the website. So they were a while back, because I got to the point where it's like, you know what? This isn't like, oh, there's no work involved doing reviews and stuff. Even for a book, you still got to read the book, and you got to make sure you've understood what you've read. So if like some mechanics don't seem like they're connecting, you go back to be like, okay, so let me walk through this again. And of course, the work involved, with the equipment and time and stuff like that. And then I thought to myself, what are people getting out of like overly negative reviews? Not much. Just, somebody venting. Yeah. Could he be a smart ass? Oh, yeah, I think we know I can be a smart ass. But is that accomplishing anything? No, not really. Now, if it's something that I think that the public should be warned about, that it's something that maybe I think is an absolute ripoff, or people are being tricked into buying it, thinking it's one thing, and it turns out to be something completely different, then I will do a video review. But yeah, I just don't. It's not my thing. Anyway, So, as I started to say, that was it for the news tonight. Of course, I mentioned DriveThruRPG a few times, and I've mentioned this time and time again. The Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to go swing on by DriveThruRPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, any of the One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com. Click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you enjoy the outlet, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, there are a couple other ways that you can support the outlet. First, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Absolutely no problem keeping it cold down here today. Ooh, I can only imagine what it's going to be in the next few days. I won't be surprised if on Thursday I have multiple layers down here and you may actually see some condensation from my breath. Anyway, so you got PayPal, and then, of course, we do have our Patreon. That's right. And I'd really like to give a quick shout out to our patrons. Big thank you to Adrian Carpio, Cuvallo. We've got Kevin Smith, Kevin R. Smith, actually. Sean O'Donnell, Talzek, my good buddy Herman Lutman, who tomorrow we're going to look at something that he's designed. Jason Lawman, Gustavo Cavalho, Kevin King, Pete Stracklich, Game Cat, RPG Munch, Tier 2 DM, Dan Webb, Tessie Trekkie, Agile Monk, and the Madman. Thank you very, very kindly. Of course, we've got links down in the show notes as far as the PayPal link, the Patreon link. You'll also find an invite link to our Discord server. That's right. Absolutely free to sign up. Come hang with the gang over on Discord. Hooray. Yay. All right. I got a contest winner to announce. You may recall my previous live stream. We took a look at Dolmenwood Adventures, the first 4 Dolmenwood Adventures, as well as the miniature set. And I said, I am going to give away to one lucky viewer all 4 of these adventures in PDF. It was super easy to get into the running. All you had to do is tell me which adventure looked most interesting, what kind of appealed to you about the adventures, and of course, be a subscriber. That was an important thing as well. And the winner is Greg Brown. And then there was like some numbers and letters that, the YouTube screwiness with the nicknames these days. So, Greg, all you got to do is email Jeff McAleer at thegaminggang.com. And you have to use the email address that's associated to your YouTube account. It's a Gmail email. And I will get you the PDFs to those 4 adventures. And everybody, thanks for taking part. Thanks for watching. It is vastly appreciated. So, before we get into taking a peek at Neverland, I'm going to give you a quick recap of the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo 3, which my best friend Elliot Miller and I attended last week. That's why there were no streams on Wednesday and Thursday, no videos over the weekend, anything like that. So I was hosting live interviews from the page interview area from Thursday morning through Sunday morning. Talked to a lot of fun guests. Some people I knew, some people I didn't know. We got a double dip from Troll Lord Games. So I interviewed Steven Schnault. I also talked to Chuck Cumbo. So those were fun. interviews. I talked to Rob Alderman, the creator of the Gods of the Forbidden North. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, we had a good time. We had some fun. As far as getting out, it snowed on Wednesday when we were flying out. I was like, oh yeah, of course. And it was snow that was not expected. Oh, hey, before I continue, I do want to mention, I'm not sure if the audio and the video are in sync because I took a peek. I was doing the timestamps for the last live stream, and I always check to make sure that it's in sync. It's all good, you know? And when I was, now remember, it was still in the processing phase on YouTube at that point, but the audio was like out of sync. And I was like, well, I checked before I started streaming. I do every day. And it was like a little bit out of sync. I was waiting for Godzilla to arrive, actually. Yeah, well, it wasn't that far out of sync. All right, so Tessie Trekkie says, yes, it's synced up. All right. Pete Strecklich says, Gods of the Forbidden North, got to see that review. There's 2 parts. So it's the 3rd book. It's the finale, the completion of the adventure campaign. I have reviewed the first 2. Matthew Blackwell says, it's freezing here, like in the low 50s for highs and then 30s at night. We aren't built for this here. Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, they're talking about, I think they're expecting Saturday to be the coldest here. And they're talking, we might hit with wind, 40 below with wind chill. Yowza. All right. Anywho. So anyway, so it snowed and I had to drive over to Elliot's, and then Elliot's wife was going to take us to the airport. Well, she did. I mean, but the trip over there was, and I'm driving an all-wheel drive SUV, and I was still kind of, woo. And I don't drive crazy in bad weather. It's like, no, thank you. I don't feel like wrecking my vehicle or wrecking mine and someone else's vehicle or lives. So it was kind of like, oh, that was a surprise. So we get to Philadelphia and it was probably in the 40s. And then over the weekend it snowed. So it's like, okay. Sunday we weren't even sure if we were going to make it back. The plane back underwent a lot of de-icing. And yeah, I've flown a lot over the years. So I've flown in all different conditions, and I've been on planes that needed to be de-iced. And when you hit like 35 minutes, starting to wonder, we might not be going, but we did. We got out. We did get out. So I was like, okay, very cool. Very cool. So the convention itself, I mean, you can tell it's the 3rd year. It's undergoing growing pains. But I got to say, I think the growing pains were probably more on like the special guest side, more of like the technical side of things, as opposed to like attendee facing. So not really a big deal then, right? It's all about the people coming to the show and everybody's having a good time. So there were 2,000 pre-sales for the badges. And I would say all in all, this is just my guess. It's not like I got to see any final numbers or anything. I would say attendance was probably like 3,200, somewhere around that. And it seemed like everybody was having a good time. I mean, there were some hiccups on our end as far as, doing the interviews and stuff like that, but we just rolled with it. It was like, all right, what are we going to do about it? Like, as an example, on Thursday, we were the lead off, right? So we were 10 a.m. to 12 noon. the 4 days, and the internet just wasn't working right. So you did not see the stream of our interviews. So those are recorded. I don't think they were up yet. I haven't taken a look at the page, YouTube page today, but they weren't up yesterday, but I'm sure they will be at some point. So, there was stuff like that. But as far as convention and that, I mean, there was a good number of exhibitors. We had WizKids there. We had Troller Games. We had Gooey Cube. I was really surprised how large the Gooey Cube exhibit area was. We had Gods of the Forbidden North, right? Kolb Press. They were there. So yeah, quite a few exhibitors. And then of course, smaller stuff, smaller exhibitors and companies I'm not aware of were all there, but everybody was having a good time. So if you live in the area next year, when it rolls around, it's January. Not like there's a whole lot going on, mid-January. Granted, we do have, the weather. I mean, it was kind of like, look, what what are you going to do, right? It's just the weather. Pete Rackowitz says their new official dice bag is the Dolmenwood bag. My dice bag for 30-some years is a Crown Royal bag. Agile Monk is with us in chat. And 815E is also with us. So it's Nate. Let's going to say it's Nate. It says, hello. So welcome. But yeah, if you're in the area, I mean, I know, and, New Jersey is right there. So, of course, folks in Philadelphia and stuff like that. Pete Rackowitz says Crown Royal dice bag is pro. That is old school. That is most certainly old school. I think Elliot still got his Crown Royal bag too. Mark Hawkswell's with us. He says Crown Royal's my go-to as well, and it's one of my least favorite whiskeys. I'm not even really a big whiskey drinker myself. My niece gave me a dice bag for Christmas, and it's kind of like, oh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, much appreciated. That was the gift. It was sort of, it's like, okay, I don't need a dice bag that you open up. It's got all these little pockets in it and stuff like that. It's like, come on, do it. Do I look like a girly man? All right. So good stuff. Like I said, Elliot and I had a great time. The reality is you could drop Elliot and I just about anywhere together and we'll have fun. Maybe not in a holding cell at some jail someplace or at a police station somewhere, but just about every other place. We just always have a good time. Madman says they must have about 24 Crown Royal bags of multiple different colors. Very nice. Very nice. All right, everybody, we're going to take a peek at Neverland from Andrew Kolb and Andrew's McMeel Publishing. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission. If it'll switch over.
Bear, who eats Super Sugar Crisp cereal?
Shaggy Dan. He'll be back.
How do you know?
Super Sugar Crisp. Eat 'em once, you want 'em twice. They're super duper good.
Let's teach him a lesson.
Shaggy loves my cereal, but he hates water. So...
Eat 'em once, you want 'em twice. I hate water.
Beat it, Shag.
I shall return.
Let's have a good breakfast featuring post Super Sugar Crisp. So super duper good, eat 'em once.
You want it twice!
Did you drink your Wilkins coffee this morning?
Of course not.
Okay. That boy's got a long way to go.
It's time for Funny Days!
Howdy! Grapes, the name, Goofy Grape. Though why they call me Goofy, I don't know. Yes, sir, I'm one of the new funny-faced drinks from Pillsbury.
Funny Faces Fancy Drink!
One of the new funny-faced drinks. Here's what you do. You pour me into a pitcher, add water, don't add sugar. I'm already sweet when you buy me. You can drink all you want. Mom won't mind. 'Cause look, Mom, I'm pre-sweetened without sugar. And so are my friends. Injun Orange. Oh. Rootin' Tootin' Raspberry. Yahoo! Freckle-faced Strawberry.
Hi.
Chinese Cherry. And Loudmouth Lime. Hello, hello, hello. Look for us at your store. Funny-faced drinks from Pillsbury.
Funny Faces Fancy Drink!
We're sweet without sugar, so no sugar mess.
Lure Peter Pan into my trap, then wham! Ambush him!
Michael?
You won't get away! Can you see it, Smee? Can you see it?
The Big Book of Neverland.
Don't you think that cloud has a weird shape?
Synapse!
Ah! Run! I got him. Huh? Come on, Hook. Don't tell me you and your crew made it all the way over here just to get your butts kicked again.
Peter. This time, I've got more power than your tiny brain can fathom.
The book did all this? The Book of Neverland is the most powerful magic thing in the universe, Michael.
Missed me. Whoa!
It got mighty quiet in chat during that Peter Pan and the quest for the, what was it, Neverland book or whatever the hell that. Man, that looked like just steaming trash. I mean, you know, I always try to find the absolute worst film that has something to do with what we're looking at. Yeah, that was bad. When they have the kid with the jetpack and the like ray gun, it's like, come on. You can tell that Peter Pan must have been hitting the public domain. Just like I saw people who were all excited. Well, okay, I don't know if they were really excited or if it was just a Kickstarter that was on Facebook that had a bunch of comments which a lot of times you'll see that stuff, comments, and people are like, oh, oh, this is great, fantastic, with the sponsored junk on Facebook, and it's, it's all BS. But there is currently a Kickstarter for a Nancy Drew role-playing game. And I'm not saying anything positive or negative about it, but people were like, oh, and it's based on the first 4 Nancy Drew books. Yeah, because that's what's public domain now. There's a reason why, like the first few days of January, the Nancy Drew role-playing game went up on Kickstarter because it is public domain. It's like, okay. Anywho, we are going to look at something that is not public domain. That's right. We're going to take a peek at Neverland from author Andrew Kolb and Andrews McMeel Publishing. This 176-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $35. Or you can grab the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. I will tell you that the book we're going to look at is not a review copy. One of our constant viewers actually was curious about my take on this. So they actually provided me the funds to pick up Neverland as well as Oz and Wonderland. So we will be looking at these as well in the not too distant future. But we're going to kick off. We're going to go in chronological order because Neverland came out first. This was in, I think it's a 2020. So keep in mind, this is not a review copy. So Andrews McMeel Publishing did not send me this book. And at the time I purchased the 3 books on Amazon, even though they have an MSRP of $35, they all came out to about $70 together. Because I think this might be like 22 something, 22 and change right now on Amazon. I don't know how long that'll be the price, but just so you know. We're not going to look at each and every page of this book, so keep that in mind. I want to give you a good feel for what's inside, but I'm not going to look at everything inside this. And then also keep in mind, this is a fantasy role-playing setting book. So I believe this is kind of a hex crawl. If you're a player and your game master has picked this up, maybe they just haven't started running it yet. Maybe they talked about maybe checking this out. Maybe they see this first look and they're like, yeah, that looks pretty cool. Keep in mind, as a player, probably going to see some spoilers. So I'm just warning you. Let's take a look at the back here. Explore the Isle of Mischief and Menace. From my angle, that was getting lost in the green. Many have heard of the island of Neverland. Neverland. Is it Peter Pan? Oh, yeah, it's Peter Pan and Tinkerbell. Neverland, dummy. Stories of pirates, mermaids, and Peter Pan are told by people around the world to send kids off to a happy, dreaming sleep. Oh, that's so nice. But it's been a long time since the darlings first flew to Neverland, and a new story is about to be told. Your own. Take a journey into the world of Peter Pan and its mysterious inhabitants in Neverland, a fantasy role-playing setting. The book is a feature-length hex crawl. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so it is a hex crawl. Intended for sandbox exploration. Created by Andrew Kolb, you'll find endless adventure inside, lovingly adapted from the tales of Peter Pan and tailored for an older audience. Each hex is self-contained, brimming with lore from Peter Pan and the Darlings' escapades. It's time to tell your own stories of pirates, mermaids, and children who can fly. Shoot them down! I'm just kidding. This is for use with the 5th edition of the world's oldest role-playing game. And as you can see, there's our MSRP. All right. Let's take a peek. So first of all, paper stock, pretty nice. Nice, solid, very solid paper stock here. Always love seeing that. Right here, we've got our credits page. I'll move it over so my mug isn't blocking it all out. So as mentioned, Andrew Kolb is the lead writer, but a lot of other folks worked very hard to bring this to life. So let's give some credit where credit is due. And I was right. It is from 2020. So there is that. Of course, if you're curious about where you can find Andrew Kolb's website, there are going to be links. So if you tend to catch the Gaming Gang videos from thegaminggang.com, of course, I always have links to everything on those posts. And of course, I will also have a link to the DriveThruRPG PDF. So we've got the world. We also have the cast, the island. We have Elfame. I wonder if that's like the nation. Yeah, I'll be the first to point out I am not super well versed with Peter Pan. I'd never read the book. So we have resources. Then we have Tales from Neverland. So, wait a second. Is that the font? Wow. Like, whoa. It is. That is the size of the font. So one thing I should mention, this is smaller than our standard size. So this is not an A5. It's bigger than an A5. Of course, smaller than an A4, but wow. All right. So I'm going to have to roll the dice and try to read this from this distance here. Many have heard of the island. Stories of pirates and mermaids and children who fly tend to spread with relative ease. But to most, that's all they are. Stories to tell children at night. Tales to send them off to a happy, dreaming sleep. Nothing to dwell on beyond that. But it's all true. The details have been muddled. It's been a long time since the darlings first flew to Neverland. But the island does exist. There are pirates and mermaids and a gang of boys who take to the skies. What the stories don't tell you is how dangerous it all is. The kidnappings and threat of murder are fun and exciting for the safety of your bed, but it's very different when you're staring down the mouth of a crocodile big enough to topple a castle. Speaking of which, the island is far more wild than what was written in the books. Giant beasts and constant threats abound throughout the island. Mummified corpses haunt the swamp, and no shadow is safe on a bright, sunny day. This is Neverland, or at least this is a Neverland. Like memories or stories, there are different versions depending on the narrative, and this is where you come in. You, the game master, sometimes GM of this game. This is your Neverland. This is your world to shape and create, your sandbox to play in, your board upon which the pieces move. The elements have all been laid out across the following pages, but it's what you do with them that makes it special. It's decisions that you and your adventurers make that will create a Neverland unique from all that have come before. It's time to tell your own tales of pirates and mermaids and children who fly. Danny Gable says they've looked at these books so many times, they've just never pulled the trigger on them. I will say, seeing that this is aimed at an older audience, I'm surprised the font is so small. I don't want to carry on about that, but I mean, this font is really small. I was shocked I could actually read that. So we've got what's going on. So we have Peter Pan and Lost Boys Captain Hook, Smee and the Pirates, Wendy, John, and Michael Darling, the mermaids, the crocodile, the gnomes, the spiders, the giants, the shadow. And I also thought this is supposed to kind of have an old school vibe to it. Like, you know, it's a hex crawl, things like that. So once again, and like I said, I thought there's like an OSR edition of this. I could be wrong, but that's why I'm kind of surprised if you're probably looking at gamers in their 40s and older who are drawn to, I'm not saying that younger people don't play OSR stuff, but it tends to be, it does skew a little older. Kind of surprised the font overall is that small. So we've got fun and recreation, hurling, fairs, pirate parties, mermaid concerts, magic and power. Are these like new rules or something? No, I think maybe it's just talking about the kind of like a little bit, what's a background. Here we go. So here's some advanced rules. So we got exploring and random encounters, chase sequences. So we've got a breakdown of chase sequences. So should you need to chase someone something, then consider the following approach. Set the win conditions based on difficulty and group size. Each player should act at least once. Low challenges may be 5 wins before 5 losses, and high challenges may be 6 wins before 2 losses, as an example. Each player takes a turn with the target/game master and chooses attack, rock, evade, paper, or sprint, scissors. So you play rock, paper, scissors, except it's attack beats sprint, sprint beats evade, evade beats attack. Okay. Harnessing the power of a star. Isn't that more Stardust? I always liked that movie. I like the book too. Too bad its author is now pretty much on the shit pile. Kevin King wants to know, do they have stats so that Wendy can have a pet xenomorph? Oh, yeah. Probably not, but that's not going to stop you from doing that. So we got the cast. Interacting with the inhabitants of Neverland is crucial to understanding the island and its intricacies. Socializing is inevitable. While some look forward to new visitors to the island, others might see an adventuring party as a threat. Descriptions and motives have been provided for many of these non-player characters, but this is only a starting point. There's no reason a faction of pirates couldn't disagree with the larger crew and go against everything that is written in their description. If anything, use the following information as a starting point toward creating complex characters. Also worth noting is the Neverland and Elfame NPCs are mixed together. As written, the Pixies, Tinkerbell, and Queen Mab are the only fairies that appear or visit Neverland. But there's no reason there can't be more overlap. For a quick reference, this little symbol here has been placed besides creatures native to Elfame or Elfame or however it's going to be pronounced, which I'm going to take a guess is kind of a Fey land, maybe. We'll find out. We'll find out. So Pete's Record says they're running their Oz book. It's Grimdark Zardoz edition. All right. So we've got the Blue Men, Bog Bodies. So it looks like we're going to kick off with a bit of a bestiary. The Crocodile is a demon. Well, Father Longlegs, it's a spider. Giant arachnids, not actually spiders. The Longlegs live in the mountains of Neverland and prefer to distance themselves from the more violent arachnids. Genial in nature, they've found company and solidarity with the mountain smith. Yeah, kind of like Daddy Longlegs, right? Everybody's like, oh, those are friendly spiders. Well, they're friendly to humans because their fangs can't pierce our flesh. I always heard that they have some of the most powerful venom out there. Could be a wives' tale. I don't know. So we've got foliates. The gnomes. So they're essentially red caps. Golden catfish. This has an interesting look. Hook. Captain James Hook. So it looks like we get almost like keywords, like aliases, right? So it says Walter Alexander Harrow, also known as Crockbait. Equal parts polite gentleman and sinister scoundrel, Hook is as likely to offer a prisoner tea as he is to boil them alive. The cursed pirate and his name and what? Oh, the cursed pirate sold his name and soul to catch Peter Pan. Some say the crocodile was sent by its demonic creator to collect on a Hook's debt, while others believe it was Queen Mab herself who offered the captain his curse. His crew only live while the moon shines and turn to inanimate skeletons during the daylight hours. Hook, however, has harnessed the power of a fallen star kept in his chest cavity and can now live during the day. He hides this fact from nearly everyone. Please sit down, kind child, and I'd hate to toss you in the brig. All right. So we have personality traits, ideals, infamy, being remembered and feared is what goes down in history. Different bonds, flaws, other proficiencies, and then we get a stat block here. Kim King says, I suppose if your players love Witchlight and wanted to continue in that mode, you could use this. I don't know. This is, you know, I think this is darker. This seems to be darker than Witchlight would be. There's Peter Pan. Pan, the first boy, the ever child. There's a story of a boy who would not grow up. Perhaps the truth is that he could not and unconsciously longed for change. His love for adventure paired with a terrible memory means he rarely learns from his mistakes and is quick to repeat them. His history of bringing children to the island is well known, but not commonly discussed. There are many rumors regarding his relationships with the Pixies, Queen Mab, and Elfame. Elfame? I like Elfame better. Some of them may even be true. How clever I was to sew my own shadow back on. So he is brash and confident, demands respect, rude and dismissive of others. Some other personality traits as well. Ideals, fun. Life is worth living if you're having a good time. Bonds, wants to personally defeat Captain Hook. Thinks Wendy is gone and chose to leave and needs to be adored by the Lost Boys. So, funny enough, here's our bookmark. Ta-da. I've always kind of thought that Peter Pan is a problem himself, that he's not necessarily, and I get it, in the Disney films for the most part, Peter Pan's always, you know, the hero in that, but there's a darkness to Peter Pan, I think. The whole refusing to grow up and kidnapping kids, essentially, and dragging them all off, Here we've got the island. Neverland is a character all on its own. The setting is both inviting and dangerous. It's civilized and wild. It's both young and alive and a very old reminder of death. The following pages outline the 24 parts of the island to be explored. Note that Hex 24, the clouds, is not marked on most maps as it's another element of discovery. Flying characters and animals disappearing into the clouds could be enough of a hint for most players. If they need a little more of a push, the Tuolith, Teg, among others, know that this is where the great white bird nests. As for the heart of the island, tables should change and evolve as the players interact with its inhabitants. Incomplete pirate stores may get finished, or more may appear. They help the pirates and spiders, or perhaps encounters with birds will be replaced by the giants if the great white bird falls ill. The goal with the multiple tables is to make repeat visits engaging. It should feel like the island is truly alive while still affording the players an element of familiarity. Characters should be able to easily find an old location after a while, but it's more fun if the third trip is complicated by an unexpected golem blocking their path. All right, there's a little bit more. Okay, so here's our hex map. All right, now, I don't know what device you may be watching this on. There is text underneath these numbers. And I'll tell you right now, I would have to be, taking a stab in the dark to possibly even guess. I think this says jungle. I don't know. I will say, from what I have seen so far, I mean, this looks really interesting. I'll be very honest with you there. The font size is going to get a ding off of the overall review score. I mean, I don't expect the print to be like massive. I don't expect the text font to be like this. That's not what I expect. But I do expect it to be of a size that it's easily read by most readers of all ages. So here we've got the keyed location. So as an example, we've got shit. Yeah, we got shipwreck. Yeah, just rolling right off the tongue there. We have shipwreck shore. I just saw it is the big bad named Michael Jackson. As I was just about to say what the title of this was. It's like, geez. The unnaturally rough water buffets shipwrecks washed ashore. While wreckage and small debris washes up on the southern shores of the island, everything of significant size ends up here. The boats of those who try to flee, as well as the ships attacked by the pirates or the crocodile, pile up on the rocky beach. The choppy waters make it difficult to loot and explore the best wreckage, but the mermaids and pirates often try it anyway. Sometimes they're successful, but more often than not, they end up adding a boat of their own to the pile. It's one of the few graveyards in Neverland that seems to actively add to its ranks. It says chime hours, 6 a.m/6 p.m. The water's calm and reveal a huge sleeping octopus on a bed of treasure. So we have a 6-sided die exploration table, D20 encounter. So it could be no encounter, area effect, a creature, a non-player character, roll twice, or creature and NPC. So area effect could be a pirate or spider trap, which may have already been triggered. Nothing's in it. A baby inhabited animal nest or habitat. And you roll a D6 for the creature here. Then we have D12 creature table. So high rolls, I think, are probably bigger, badder monsters and such. And then we have NPCs. So that is the locales. We've got a few different locations. So we have 24 keyed hexes, although the clouds aren't really on the map, I thought. Elfame, the land of the fairies, there we go, is a world unto itself. The nature of its connection to Neverland has yet to be discovered, but the effects of this bond can be seen everywhere. Neverland follows a rather strict logic. Outside of exploring the skull, further explained in Chapter 5, the land of the fairies is the antithesis to Neverland and its logic. The rules of Elfame are like nothing else the adventurers have seen before. Should say adventurers, I would guess, but it says adventures. Accessing Elfame is up to the game master, but there is a number of options already included in the text. A gate to Elfame opens at the Great Hill during the chime hours. This is the easiest and clearest route. The tunnels beneath Neverland could lead to the land of the fairies, as could the apple trees. The countless circles or the sundial might also hold a secret to traveling between these worlds. The chapter includes the basic culture and regions of Elfame, but doesn't strictly state who or what should be found in each area. The author suggests introducing the flexible nature of Elfame after adventurers have gotten somewhat familiar with Neverland. The contrast between the two worlds is made more clear when the party has a good sense of what life is like outside of Elfame. It also benefits the game master, as spending time in Elfame requires a little more planning and strategy than Neverland. Without further ado, it's time to see where all those pixies come from. Customs, the role of children, there you go, stealing babies and humans, changelings. Yeah, I would say this is a little darker than Kevin King was thinking it was. Danny Gable says, the book looks great, but the font size is really laughable. Yeah, well, I don't know if this is... Well, for one, I thought Andrews McMeel is here in the U.S. So, you know, if they went with the standard 8.5 by 11, that would have given them the luxury of making a larger font. All right, so here are the different regions. Do we have another hex map? No. Well, they may encounter it. Nope, guess not. So it's actually a pretty short chapter. Next, we'll get into the resources. So here we got our dungeon maps. So here's the inside of the crocodile. There's crocodile nest. So, of course, it's telling us which hex it's located in. So we got the Great White Bird Nest, the Home Underground. That's cool. I like that. That's nice. The Iron Mines. It's like quite a bit in there. Once again, very old school approach, kind of getting right to the point. Right, so talk about the entrance to the Iron Mines. Well kept with simple archway, stray tools and carts, tables with maps and notes. Bang. Number 2, equipment stores, tools, carts, spare tracks, etc., 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 etc. Tessie Trekkie says chime hours, essentially the clock in the crock, keeps time for Neverland and chimes twice a day. Very nice. The Tabletop Scholar is with us tonight. Welcome aboard. Thanks for hanging with the gang. Says, love this book. His other two are great as well. We will be taking a look at Oz and Wonderland in the not too distant future. Pete Stracklett says they've seen this physical copy for $10. So worth it. Oh yeah. If you pick this up for $10, you can make the font even smaller, right? Still be of value. So are we getting into some random tables here? Yep. So small creatures, medium and large creatures, huge gargantuan creatures. Although it did have like wizard and stuff like that. So maybe they're just saying more like, you know, the equivalent challenge-wise. Got some random adventuring tables, animals, creatures, loot, Lost Boy traps, materials, plot hooks. I would think that maybe this would probably be better suited to just kind of creating things ahead of time for your players, as opposed to just dealing with emergent play. And I've talked about this before, that sometimes, and I'm not saying that's the case here, but sometimes with things that are kind of an old school mentality with lots and lots of random tables, and this doesn't have tons of random tables, but sometimes they're presented as if, well, you know, the game master is just expected to just roll from these random tables for emergent play. And then it basically just comes out to being like really feeling random. It's like, okay, that encounter had zero to do with anything else that's been going on in this adventure. Uh-huh. So here are tales from Neverland. I guess we get a little bit of fiction to wrap up. Looks like it. So it looks like a little bit of fiction for maybe Andrew Kolb's adventure campaign. External and complementary resources. We get a sketchbook. Trying to decide on what the title and cover of the book would look like. That would be the map. Right. And then these pre-gen characters, I think so. Yep, the big game hunter. It's coming right at us. Oh, and they're perforated too, so you can tear them out of the book. Child pickpocket. Teen prodigy. Holy orphan. Holy orphan, Batman! You and your younger brother were orphaned at a young age when a terrible fire swept through the village. Your parents sacrificed themselves to ensure you'd both survive, and neither of you will ever forget that day. Now you both serve as divine agents and try to spread the warmth of the sun as far as it will reach. But your faith was truly tested when your brother disappeared. Your prayers have led you to this island, and you don't understand why. Could be a stranded pirate. We got some quick references. We've got a fold-out map. This is actually the same paper stock as the book itself. This is a matte finish on this paper, a little thinner too. So all these are perforated so you can pull them on out. Well, that's nice. We don't see that too often. All right. So that is a peek inside Neverland from Andrew Kolb and released by way of Andrew's McMeel Publishing. It is available now. It's been available for a few years. Carries an MSRP of $35. We have talked about how you can find it for quite a bit less on Amazon, at least when I ordered this, it was. If you want to grab the PDF, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. All righty. So let's swing on over to the other camera because we got other things cooking. So tomorrow night, we are going to take a peek at the expansion for the Plum Island Horror from my buddy, Herman Luttman. You might recall my reviews of practically all of his designs, maybe not so much lately with some of his war games, but I have covered a lot of his stuff, including one of my all-time favorite solitaire games, Dawn of the Zeds. This is also a game that can be played solitaire or with up to 3 other players. This is the expansion. This is what it, more horrible things. Oh, more of a bad thing. So kind of light. So probably won't take a ton of time for us to take a peek at this on tomorrow's show. So maybe we'll spend a little more time with my random musings than we normally do. So, but yeah, so that's going to be on tomorrow's show. And then I think we are going to take a look at the new issues of Fight On magazine from Fight On Publications. That's right. Fight On is back. It returned with issue 15. So we got 15, 16, and 17 are available right now. In fact, 17 just came out. I shared news about it. I think it was on last week's show, or it was sometime during the week prior to that. Well, we're going to take a look at all 3 issues, and each one is over 100 pages. So we're going to dive on into that. And of course, Fight On is aimed at the old school Renaissance. As I refer to OSR, you might have a different word for that R. So that will be on Thursday's show, when I guarantee it is going to be pretty damn cold down here in the Duct Tape Studios. All righty. So if you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, tip of the cap to you. Because not only are you keeping me company while I'm flipping through the book or sharing the news, you're also, actually, it'd be the opposite of that. You not only keeping me company. Yeah, Jeff, you go a week without doing a show and then you're like all over the place. What's wrong with you? How many years have you been doing this, Jeff? So not only do you keep me company, but you also keep each other company while I'm doing the news or flipping through a book, unboxing a board game, what have you. But, you know, I know a lot of folks out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very much for taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. I also want to thank the folks that came up and said hello to me at the Philadelphia area gaming expo. I really appreciate it. And I was surprised. There were quite a number of people saying hello. So thank you for that. Hopefully, I think there was one person that was kind of in a hurry. I don't think I shortchanged them because I told them why I was in a hurry. But, you know, when somebody says hello to me and they're like, hey, thanks for the videos, love the website, you know, stuff like that, I try to take a few minutes and chat with them. But yeah, thank you so much for coming up and saying hello. It warmed the cockles of my heart. It most certainly did. Anyway, if you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 o'clock Central. It'll also let you know when I share other videos, such as my recent review of Vesson Mythic Carp Mythic Carpathia. Mythic Carpathia from Free League Publishing. I swear, this is just diet soda. It's all that's in it. But you know, this is what happens when I like go a week or whatever without doing any videos of that. It's the first show back is always a little rough, but it is kind of funny. So there you have it. Anyway, it'll let you know when I share other videos as opposed to just the streams. So there is that. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. Once again, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll take a look at more of a bad thing for the Plum Island Horror from GMT Games. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, I certainly hope each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.